Kind of a typical thing lately. Gotta love V8s. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're reviewing a 2022 GMC Yukon AT4 with a blackout package. First and foremost, so a huge shout out and thank you to the National GMC here in American Fork, Utah for giving me some time with this Yukon. Check out the inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below as well. Let's get into the video. Under the hood, we have a naturally aspirated 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 10-speed automatic transmission. Power outputs are 420 horsepower and then 460 pound-feet of torque. And let me say it again, 6.2 V8. Now let's go to the front end of this AT4. So first off, you have the signature Yukon hood, which is raised on either side, and then it's lower there in the center. And then notice how this trim here around the grille kind of has more of like a satin type finish, a little bit darker in coloration. GMC logo has been all blacked out, which looks so cool. And then coming to the headlights, notice we got the C-shaped daytime running lights with the LED headlamps and then the fog lights. And notice how everything kind of is darker in coloration all around. We've got parking sensors here on the front end. And then we do have skid plate protection underneath and then some tow hooks because the AT4 is the off-road package for the Yukon. And yeah, this thing just looks so sinister from a front end perspective. It's like the Batmobile Yukon. Now coming on the side here, we've got two 75mm tires wrapped around 20-inch wheels in the front and over in the rear as well. And notice how the whole wheel has been blacked out again to go with the darker theme on this particular one. And then you guys can see here with the front suspension, you do get Magnaride with the AT4 package, which is pretty cool. We have our GMC logo right there, and then notice the mirrors are body painted to match. And then you guys can see there with the door handles all blacked out. All the trim around the windows is blacked out. And yeah, just look how cool this is from the side. So here's our key fob. We have our unlock function or lock function, the opening here for the hatch, just the glass if you want, and then the remote start function as well. We're gonna press this twice to open up the entire hatch. And popping here inside, this is the regular wheelbase, this is not the XL, but notice here we've got all these controls. So for the second row you can just lower them down, for the third row you can raise and lower them down with those controls. And then we have the storage space underneath. And again, not being the XL, it's got a okay amount of storage space behind the third row, but it's not massive. If you want more, then you go for the XL. And then notice here with the plaques on the other side, they still have the plastic wrapping on them, which is pretty cool. And yeah, when you're all done, you just got a button up there, which you gotta actually press, there you go. And then that'll lower it back down. This kind of reminds me of the sport package on the Escalade, because that's got like a blacked out grille and everything, and this is all blacked out. Anyways, finishing things up with the rest of the Yukon. Here's a quick look at the tail lights here. And again, notice like the satin finish on the trim. Of course, we got the aggressive sport exhaust tips here at the bottom, parking sensors, bezel that covers the receiver hitch, and that's all for the rear. Now here's the door panel on the rear. Notice we've got the leather trim here at the top with the stitching, and then look at this trim house, kind of like darker. And again, more of that AT4 stitching, and then notice it's perforated here at the bottom. And then you can see we've got a speaker for the Bose sound system, AT4 logo. You guys saw the power side steps. And then here are the AT4 seats, perforated here in the center, and then notice with the leather strips that go on them. All of your adjustments here in the seats, so like if you want to move it forward or backwards, you got that latch, for example. And we're going to pop in, we're also going to move the seat back a little bit. Yes, it's one of these days. Anyways, notice here, got a little storage pocket, got some cup holders here. We've got the climate controls down below with the heated seats, and we got some nice armrests here. I love the third row on the Yukon because it's very spacious, as you can see from a legroom perspective and from a headroom perspective, so you can very comfortably fit adults back there even over longer periods of time. And let's head to the front. Now notice the front door panel is just as nice as the rear from a material standpoint here. We've got all of our window controls, front two are automatic, and then you guys can see here with the mirror adjustments, your door lock and unlock. And this one has a little convex mirror added onto it. Blind spot monitoring too. Again, speaker for the Bose sound system. AT4, and then again with the power side steps. And then another AT4 logo. They don't let you forget it's an AT4. And then notice here with the leather how it's perforated. Got the AT4 colors. Power adjustments. Here's a quick look at the pedal layout. And then we have our light controls here. Drive mode select with our drive line select. We do have 4-wheel auto as well as 4-wheel high and 4-wheel low. You get your parking brake right there, and then we have our lane departure, stability control, hill descent control, parking sensors, auto stop start, and then that is for the outlets. Steering wheel is power adjustable. Let's pop in. So here is the steering wheel for the AT4. We've got really nice leather trim all around the steering wheel. Notice the stitching that matches the rest of the AT4 stitching. And then we have our regular practical controls for the center stack, radio controls on the back, voice command controls, cruise control with the GMC logo there, front and center, turn signal / windshield wiper stock, and there's the steering wheel. Now here is the center gauge cluster, full digital gauge cluster, and we've got a bunch of different drive modes we can go between. So notice we have our normal, tow haul, off-road, and then our sport mode as well, which is pretty cool. Again, the AT4 is, you know, technically the off-road Yukon, so that's why you got the off-road mode. But aside from that, we can scroll through some different menus here in the center as well. Overall, I think the center gauge cluster looks great, and having a full digital gauge cluster now, I think, is just moving in the right direction. Now here's the infotainment system. First off, if we pop it in reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel, and you've got the trailer tow mode as well. Now as for the rest of the infotainment system, first off, you have the shortcut bar here on the side, and notice response time is fantastic with that. We have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto with it, and yeah, overall pretty cool system. Notice with the climate controls how, well, it takes a second to load up. You can kind of control everything from the info if you want, even the rear as well, which is pretty cool, and there you go. We've got all of our buttons here, well, buttons and I guess switches for the gear selection. I guess this is technically like a switch, right? Because you pull it up and then button because you press it down. Anyways, yeah, it's interesting. Notice here with the stitching and padding, got the vents down below there. And then also notice here with the dash, look at the material use. And then notice this perforated here in front of the glove box. Analog controls for the radio. Your climate system, remember you've got 2 zones for the front and then you've got the one for the rear. Heated cooled seats here for the front passengers. Wireless phone charger. We've got a couple cup holders here, and then notice with the leather trim and stitching. And then we've got the center console with the phone holder on the top and then perforated in the center. Tons of storage space. And then popping inside the glove box, pretty normal with that whole setup. And then popping up top here, we do have a panoramic sunroof here. We've got our universal garage door openers. We got this to throw it on the seats, sunroof controls all over, and well, there you go. Now, if you want the most up-to-date price on this Yukon and also random storage space, check out National GMC's website in the description down below. Let's see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility before we set off. Here's your visibility over the hood, both of the mirrors, which you can do with blind spot, and then throughout the rest of the rear. And let's set off. So setting off in the Yukon AT4, and this is such a cool vehicle. I know that some people might be a little bit confused with the AT4 package because it's this, you know, big full-size SUV with an off-road package, and you know, those things usually don't go hand in hand, right? Having a very large vehicle and off-road stuff. But I can tell you with the Yukon, it really does make sense, because first off, with the blackout package, this thing just looks so cool. Secondly, we gotta get an acceleration, then we can kind of continue on and talk about stuff. Got someone in the middle of the road, kind of a typical thing lately. Gotta love V8s. Yeah, power's just great. The other reason why it makes sense is this is a vehicle where you don't have to be stressed in like all season driving, right? Because you know that it's going to have the tires and the ability to be able to drive through snow and all that kind of stuff. And if you want to go on fun family camping adventures where you take a bunch of people, you can do that in this. And this is, you know, going to be able to handle quite a bit because of just how capable it is. And then on road, off-road packages, because you've got, you know, more sidewall with the tires, ride smoother, frankly. Like, this is very comfortable. Now, this particular one doesn't have the air suspension. The air suspension definitely does make this even smoother. But even without the air suspension, it's a long enough wheelbase vehicle that it's comfortable. Gosh, you gotta love that engine. But yeah, I mean, other than that, like, I love this package. I think it looks great. I think this is the way to go with, if I was gonna get a Yukon, I would for sure get the AT4 because I'm an off-road enthusiast, and this is the best looking Yukon in my opinion, with the you know, kind of like aggressive front end, and yeah, I just think it looks fantastic. And then, you know, interior is great. You still get all the same luxury features you get in a Denali, so it's not like you're missing out on anything. And then on top of that, right, you've got the capability to do a bunch of stuff, right? You've got that ability, right? So I think that's a big plus. And yeah, this one with the blackout package just looks so cool. Again, it kind of reminds me of like the sport package on the Escalade, which I think also looks really cool. So yeah, this is my favorite package on the Yukon. This is what I'd get: short wheelbase, AT4. The only thing that I'd add that this doesn't have is the 360 camera system and air suspension. But other than that, this is pretty much as perfect as it gets. And you really don't need the 360 camera system. I'm just lazy sometimes, and it's nice to have, you know, the full 360 view with the cameras and everything. But yeah, there you go. Let me know what you guys think about this package. That's gonna sum things up for our video on this GMC Yukon AT4. Again, a huge shout out and thank you to the National GMC here in American Fork for giving me some time with this Yukon. Check out the inventory in the description down below. I'll see all of you in the next video.